My name is Jon Norton. I'm the music director at WGLT, and that's all I do. I used to listen to the transistor radio when I was a kid. I used to listen to the baseball games. So I had a little transistor radio that I would listen to the Minnesota Twins baseball games as I was falling asleep. I was one of those kids. And that day, we put our transistor radios underneath our pillows so our moms wouldn't know we were listening to the radios. We're falling asleep, and I would fall asleep listening to Minnesota Twins baseball. And I'd wake up every morning and my 9-volt battery was dead because I fell asleep listening to the Twins game.
Down in Miami, he has his own radio show down there, but he's better known as a percussionist. He worked with Miles Davis for a little bit. And
my peeve with radio, to put it nicely, is there's not a whole lot of imagination going into the entertainment value of radio. But some of the stations in some of the bigger markets back in the day, there was some real creative ideas going into at least promotions. I don't know what the exact statistic is on this, but I've seen anywhere between 90 to 98% of people who listen to radio will never and would never call a radio station for any reason. The thing radio has to really concern itself with is when it, say, gives away tickets. How do you keep the other 98% or 90% of your audience who would never call a radio station, how do you keep them entertained? Caller number 10, you win tickets. One of the things we did on Halloween night is the staff, we all came up with an idea for what we call the Trick or Treat Halloween Bash. We created this promotion where for 3 weeks ahead of time, we promoted that all these legendary classic rock artists were going to be in Bismarck, North Dakota. Now imagine George Thorogood, Bruce Springsteen, Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, Poison, all of these bands were going to be in Bloomington at the same time. Well, that's how the promo sounded anyway. What we did is took 3 songs from those live CDs and made a huge concert out of it. We called it our Trick or Treat Halloween Bash. It was live from Buffalo Commons Coliseum, which seats 80,000 people in a town of 50,000 people. So it was a fictitious Coliseum that we referenced on the air occasionally. This whole 3-hour thing was produced ahead of time. The way we produced it was that we were actually at Buffalo Commons Coliseum, on stage, backstage, side stage. We were talking to the artists. We put artist interviews on the air. We took concert listeners or winners of previous contests. They'd come in and pick up their tickets. We say, can you come back in the production room? We're going to interview you for our concert we're going to have on the air. So when you have all this crowd noise in the background, and then you hear this person we're interviewing that was just in a production with no noise behind them, but then you hear it when it came on the air, it sounded like they were actually at the stadium. I was very surprised at the number of people who called the radio station and wondering where this stadium was down by the river in little old Bismarck, North Dakota. It was kind of fun, and we had to finally say, it's just the thing. We're just goofing with you. So how does that compare to I don't know. I don't know. I just don't hear that on the radio anywhere. There's got to be a storyline running through the radio station. It's not just music and intros and outros of some of those songs. What's the storyline? Whether it's your promotion, whether it's something that's happening in town. You know, it's not just talking about what's local on the air, but it's maybe doing something with it. I don't think radio is going to go under the next 5 or 10 years, but I think if radio doesn't get its collective head out of its butt, it's going to lose a lot of audience share, and it's already doing that. So radio is competing with Pandora, with Spotify. What does radio have that Pandora doesn't have? That's personality. What's going on in between those songs is something Pandora and Spotify are not doing. And if we don't do that, why would anyone want to listen to a radio station